All right. We are the Star Wars Steampunk Universe. We have gone from a cosplay group created solely for the 2015 Anaheim celebration into a fully realized and highly dedicated team of enthusiastic do-gooders whose primary focus is that of working as a charity support group and teaming up with other local charity groups, of which there are a few here today, to be a united force for good. Some of us have been doing charity work all our lives, and some of us are new to it. But this charity work is what sets the Star Wars Steampunk Universe and other groups apart from other, just your typical cosplay group who meets just to take pictures at conventions. So our panelists include, we've got Justin, Mace Windu Hammer. We've got Sarah, Pilot Ray. We've got Chris, who's Dude Vader. We've got Tracy, who is C3P Steamo. We've got Christy, who's Baroness Offie. We've got Poppy, who is Ahsoka Gaia. We've got Noah and James, who are Lando and Chant Kronos. So this is a big panel, so it's going to be a little bit like herding forks here, but hey! Hey!
Team Ford.
Fail. Oh, let's go.
Who's going for barbecue pork
Fail.
after this?
Fail.
Oh, let's go.
Okay, so I want to say first and foremost that since we are a group that supports charitable causes and Cos-Losseum is itself a charitable event, please feel free to approach any one of us, as well as the San Diego Star Wars Society or the Sci-Fi Coalition if you have any events that you want anybody to appear at. And also, this is a charity fundraiser for the Lucas Foundation, so donate. Okay, so let's get to the questions here. So Christy, James, and Noah, volunteering as a family, do you feel that it brings you together as a family?
Yeah, I would say so. It really brings up several conversations. Some odd things happen. But, yeah, I'd say it definitely brings us closer as a family.
Eric, you done right?
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, we spend a lot of time and energy and money on cosplay and doing this together, but we spend a whole lot less money than Disneyland passes or other kinds of things that people might do with their family in Southern California, which all of those things are wonderful, but instead we will fill our house or our den with steampunk all over the floor and spend the night together just creating. And that's a really wonderful thing for our family to be able to spend that time together in a really creative capacity. So the cosplay piece has certainly brought us together, but the fact that we get to, with this group and in other contexts, express creativity, but also do that in such a way that brings attention to or helps raise funds for causes across Southern California that are making a real difference in the lives of others, gives purpose in our family that I think a lot of families miss. When you do things together and the purpose is just entertainment, that's great, and that can be a wonderful thing, but when you can unite around something that's making an impact, then it really draws you closer together in some neat ways.
Awesome. So Chris, as far as volunteering in one's retirement, what volunteer
I've been
opportunities?
retired for 50 years, by the way.
What volunteer opportunities are open to you that are not necessarily open to people who work full time, and how can a retiree get involved in doing regular charity work?
First of all, the retirees are probably the most unused people in our society today, because it used to be that, you know, the parents and grandparents were the people that everybody turned to. So what I do every week, I go to Facebook, I look at the weekend events and find something to go to. There's always something to go to. And the best part of going in costume is nobody needs to know how old you are. You know, so the thing is I think most of you who know the Dude Vader character, the general public probably thinks he's a guy in his 20s or 30s. And so please don't reveal that after.
Okay, Poppy, as far as doing good in both your career and your free time, do you find them to be equally rewarding?
I do, and I also use the charity work also as a stress reliever, for those of you guys who know what I do for my job. So not only do I get to do good on normal days, but to be able to come and do this, it kind of complements it, because the job gets stressful. I look forward to this, and sometimes when it's too much for me to handle, this is what I look forward to. And I feel sometimes it's even more rewarding than what I've chosen as a career, to be able to go out and actually make people smile. Sometimes I don't get to do that. And I really, really love it. I really love it. It's a different kind of good. It's more, sometimes I think, sometimes more rewarding, and also sometimes more self-sacrificing, because you're putting yourself out there to just try to do something different, try to encourage people to do something good. So I just love it.
Awesome. I think we either have to like make out with the microphone or use your diaphragm, by the way. Microphone. Thanks.
This is a family show.
Language.
Okay, Sarah and Justin, as two of our newest members, what have you found to be the most rewarding when it comes to volunteering with the Star Wars Steampunk Universe? Was it what you expected?
Can you hear me if I talk this close to it?
Louder.
Sorry, I still am coming back from a cold, so if I can't project super well. I think for me, like, I've been cosplaying for a few years now, but you kind of can get caught up in the popularity stuff that's going on and everything else, and so I was getting a little more tired and stressed out with that, and after interacting with a bunch of people out of this group, I just liked the idea of being able to use my cosplay for other people. So being able to go to a couple marathons, cheer everybody on, like seeing the smiles on their faces, it's been like really great to take something that I already love to do anyway, and then use that towards the good of other people. And you know, cheering people on at the side of the marathon doesn't seem like a huge deal, but when you get to see their faces and they're glad that you're there to cheer them on, even if it's, you know, the last person that's made it across the finish line, the fact that there's somebody there to, you know, give them a high five or whatever when they cross the finish line, you can tell it means the world to them. So I think that's been really great, is just being able to make that shift with my hobby and do something different with it.
I believe for me, one of my biggest experiences was the autism awareness event, and there I just felt, you know, the power of influence to be able to make a positive mark and impression on these kids that had a dream, and then they feel like they can make it a reality, and it was more inspiring to me than it was probably to them, even though they feel like standing and viewing that they could, because they were making a site for people with autism, that's autistic, to have relationships and be married and things like that. And they were speaking their hearts about it, and just learn these kids and learn what they had on their heart, and for them to express it and to be an outlet at the moment. And I didn't realize, like, oh, I'm the one that they're letting this out to, and they were enjoying me as their company. So the importance of just being a part of the group and be able to influence and inspire life in the people that most will outlook and say they don't have a chance to do something, I think is very important and inspiring to me in so many different ways. So it's a little bit more than I even expected, because I used to be in, like, you know, children's ministry and do things for kids, but this is on a different level for me, because it's more of a heart jerker, because most people can make choices and have the choices to change their life and change their outcome, and to realize when you take a step to do something for somebody else that may not have the same choices or opportunity as you, and to give them that same opportunity as a visual, or just to be a part of something. As far as the conversation, just very important. So yeah, it's been great. It's been a great experience being a part as a new attendee to the group.
Well, we're glad to have you guys.
Speaking of marathons, and Sean and everybody's Science Fiction Coalition, every weekend at Liberty Station, there's a 5K charity fundraiser. If you want to start doing this stuff, just show up every weekend. You have to get there a little earlier, and they need people every weekend.
Okay. James, what do you think the secret is to being a cohesive and functional charity-focused cosplay team?
That's a big question. The secret. That's kind of what's the meaning of life question.
42.
I would admit 42, always, yeah. So I would say maybe three things. First of all, you have to have a mission. There has to be something at the center. It can't just be a free-for-all. So you have to know why you're doing what you're doing. And when that's unclear, then everything falls apart. Because everybody has an agenda. If you can center around, if you can rally around a singular idea, even if that idea seems small or seems frivolous, it's a center, and you have to have some sense of identity, something that's at the center. The second thing I would say is then you have to together choose to defend that center. So you can't have people with multiple agendae as part of a group who all are there for a different reason. So you have to be willing to defend that, know what it is, and to be willing to defend it. But the third thing, and I think maybe the most important thing is, it has to be fun. And when it stops being fun, then things are gonna fall apart. And when I say fun, I don't mean fun like, always a laugh a minute. I mean fun that it's satisfying, fun that it's meaningful, fun that there are takeaways and value for everybody who's involved. And I think for us, one of the things that's been really wonderful and important in this group, though I've been a part of multiple groups that are charity groups, for this one in particular that I love, and we have other members who are here, not sitting up here with us, but that are out in the audience. But Rebecca is kind of a social director for our group. She's always looking for opportunities for us to go out after an event or to play games at a house. Or these are our friends, and when you get to do something that you love and that matters alongside people that you respect and that you value, then you keep coming back for more and for more and for more. So one of the things I love most about the cosplay community as a whole is that it does feel, we call it our con family, right? Our cosplay families. And we love seeing you guys, and I'm always excited when we get to come to events and to see your creativity and to celebrate that. But here in this group, with that mission, and then defending that mission, and then developing relationships that add value to our lives, that to me creates that cohesion that you're talking about, that cohesive body that can move forward as a unit, instead of as individuals doing with disparate goals. Does that make sense? Am I answering your question? That's a huge question.
Good answer
Okay.
to a really good question.
I don't know.
Okay, Christy, you started out by helping Star Wars Steampunk Universe in a supporting non-costume role. What made you decide to switch sides and become a costume character?
Well, I called myself the handler, the SWSU handler, which meant that I could hold purses or bags or cameras or do things like that. And it was fun, and I got to know everybody. But as you know, choosing a costume and choosing a character takes time. It's not something you can just jump right into. And for me, it took about 2 years to find mine. And so I found Barris Offie, and I thought Barris would be perfect for Baroness, so the perfect steampunk name. And then just her costuming is great. I don't have to wear a wig. Another point for my part. So it just kind of morphed into this, and it's just a lot of fun. So it just took me a while to find my place, so to speak.
Well, we're glad you're costumed. Tracy Davis, do you find that there is a benefit to wearing a costume while doing charity work as opposed to just being in cities?
Oh, heck no, it's not comfortable. No. No, it's a great feeling to wear a costume at times. You get to express yourself a bit more. And today, bear me, I'm on zero sleep. But it's a great time, and I have all the time. I look forward, like, meeting my cosplay fan all the time, and I like seeing the interesting things that I see when I come to the con. It's always an eye-opener when you see somebody else that you haven't seen for a few months and go, hey, look what you did this time, and you know, like other people notice you as well, and you say, well, but it's just a big kick, it's a big kick, and I love it, and I can't wait. I feel like I'm going to Disneyland every time I come to an event. That's why I'm on zero sleep now. So I got to get some caffeine on the ride back.
I have a 5-hour energy upstairs.
I have one too. I just have to drink. A lot of times that respirator I have wearing, I starve myself when it comes to thirst. And I'm like, oh, I got to sit down and go. It's challenging sometimes. Sometimes, those of you know, it's something that challenges me sometimes going to the restroom. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Noah, how important do you think it is for young people to get involved in charitable works at an early age?
Oh, okay. I definitely think that's really important because if you're gonna decide to help people in a charitable way, you should really kind of get that sense of it when you're younger, because that's just it'll help you in the future just getting comfortable in that mindset of I'm going to do this for these whatever charity you're doing it for, instead of getting it as I want to do this because I think it's fun. It's I want to do this because I want to help you. I don't want to. This is not for me. This is for you. So I think that is yeah. Yeah.
Well said.
Mama's wiping her tears. Chris, tell us about your experience being a point of contact between different charities and fellow charity-based cosplay groups, and what are the most important things for people to remember who might want to reach out to their favorite charities on their own? You kind of answered that a little bit.
Yeah. First of all, we've got some incredible charity groups. We've got the Science Fiction Coalition here. We've got the 501st. We've got the San Diego Star Wars Society. We've got so many different groups that I would venture to say, Sean, wouldn't you figure that maybe there's at least 2 or 3 events a week available if you make contact with those groups? One of the things to keep in mind, when you do charity work, it's not about you. It's about the cause that you show up to. So sometimes if you show up and somebody at 501st feels like you're upstaging them, just pull them aside and say, not at all. We're only here for the kids. We're only here for the charity. We're only here for the runners. And that's what really draws, I think that this last 3 years, we have really evolved as a San Diego group. I don't know another community in this country that I read more about that's doing charity work than San Diego. And that's because of all these other groups. It's not just us. We are usually on the coattails of these other groups, so please look to them too.
Poppy, how do you juggle charity work with a busy work schedule? And do you have any pointers for those who have full-time jobs, including unpredictable schedules?
Get used to no sleep. So for me, being able to create is an outlet for my job. So I try to find as much time as possible. Recently, I made an Evil Queen cloak for another group here. And it was literally, I'd come home, it's like, well, I got 30 minutes. I planned ahead. 30 minutes, I'm going to sew this section right here. And I don't care if it's only this long. That's the only thing I'm working on. Or if I got to update jewelry bracers or anything like that, it's being willing. It's kind of like also when you juggle everything else in your life. It's like, I only have an hour to work out, so I have to plan it here. Well, I only have like an hour to work on my costume. I have to plan it here. You just find a place where to put it in your schedule, and you dedicate yourself to, that's all I'm doing. You don't turn on YouTube. You don't watch the TV. That's what you do. And so that's how I juggle it within my schedule, at least how I keep myself sane, because sometimes my work hours are really long, is I find the time, this is the time for me to work on what I would like to work on. And so that's how I juggle it.
James, how do you think that the Star Wars fandom has changed and grown over the past few years since Star Wars Steampunk Universe was formed? And what do you think is the best way to leverage the power of that fandom to bring attention to nonprofit charitable organizations?
Call Cynthia, not me.
I think that fandom has changed because now we have cell technology. So, Star Wars
This is my first panel. It's cool.
I often get confused. I work at a university in an administrative capacity within the Dean's Office for Undergraduate Studies at a CSU. And I often go to meetings, and I apparently look a good deal younger than I am, and so I get confused with grad students all of the time. So I don't know if this will be surprising to you. I kind of hope that it is. but I am old enough to have seen the films in the first 4, 5, 6 in theaters. So, yeah, anyone else? Yeah, all right, good deal. So the first one came out when I was only 5, but still, that was my childhood, and I grew up with those films and seeing those films with my parents in the theaters, and was a part of that original fandom around this. So what a wonderful opportunity, what a unique and truly amazing opportunity it is for me to be able to relive that and to share that with my sons. So Noah has grown up with a whole new generation of Star Wars films separated by decades, but I get to share that again with him. So so watching that change and grow, and the fans of the original trilogy and those of us who grew up with that, remember a time when it was on every lunchbox, every TV commercial was about Star Wars, and over time that faded and changed, and now with this resurgence with the new films, a whole new generation is experiencing that. But what other franchises like that, where it's generations get to celebrate this together? So now we are in a Star Trek to a degree, but I think the fandom is very different for Star Trek than it is for Star Wars. So what I love about this and what we get to do with this group is that this appeals across generations, right? So we have fans that we can connect with to help promote charitable organizations, to help promote the work and raise awareness of wonderful people who might otherwise stay buried or hidden, to generations of people who love Star Wars. So we can take the power of that multi-generational fandom and we can turn that around and shine a spotlight in the direction, very, very brightly, because of that fandom, in the direction of wonderful men and women who are doing wonderful things for our community. And what a wonderful opportunity that we all have in an age where through cosplay, because let me just add this. Whenever we go, especially when we're working with kids, with a kid, if you're in a costume, it doesn't matter if you look anything like the character, you're a movie star, right? Like, you're in a costume, you might as well have just walked off the screen. So it's a great thing to be able to leverage. But when I walk down the hallway, grown men my age or older are high-fiving me in the hall because they're so excited to see that nobody cosplays Lando. That's awesome, right? So to be able to go transgenerationally, go across that whole spectrum and be able to use that to shine a light on charitable work across Southern California, what a powerful thing.
Okay, Justin, any recommendations on the best way to go about joining a cosplay group that does a lot of work with charities?
I would just say, depending on what chance or opportunity you have, if it's, you see the group, just go up to somebody, ask them about it, make sure you know what they're about, and that's what you want to be about. That's very important. Know what you're going to be a part of, and that's what you want to commit yourself to. So I just recommend letting yourself be heard. You know, if it's messaging them, telling them what you're about, and if it's a group you really want to be a part of, and it feels like it's so big, you're not going to be able to get a chance, just keep trying for it. Keep messaging them. Just tell them your heart, and someone will see it, and that when the time comes, you'll be a part of it. But charities groups are very open, especially if it's your passion. So this group is very welcoming to me. So I don't see any other group being any different. So yeah, just speak up, be heard.
Tracy Davis. What is the best thing about being part of a team as opposed to doing charity work on your own?
It's like a family. You know, it just feels like the group, everybody wants to help you. We're all trying to meet that same goal. And it's just a great feeling, you know. It's just a group.
How about you, Sarah?
It's definitely like you're working as a unit, so I feel like there's a lot more that you can do simultaneously when you have multiple people rather than just yourself. So like in the case of one of the marathons that I was at, like you have plenty of people up the different aisles as people are running in, everybody's making sure people are getting high fives, that everybody's clapping for people, and you know, your hands might get tired, but somebody else is still clapping, you know, or whatever. So when you're working as a group, it's like You know, you can have people that are still watching your bags if you need to run to the restroom or something like that. It's much more collaborative. You're able to help take care of each other. We all carry snacks and things like that. And so just when you're at every event, you can encourage each other too, as like your energy starts to get drained and things like that. Like just being like, it's okay, like we've only got another hour of clapping, you can do it, kind of a thing. Like it's harder to motivate yourself sometimes when you're alone, but when you're working with a bunch of other people, you can kind of like keep that energy going, and I think that really helps.
Okay, I'm gonna go down the line. What has been your favorite charity event so far? Start with Justin.
So far, as I mentioned, it was the autism awareness one. That's just my favorite because I got to experience a lot of different things as my first charity event. You know, speaking to everyone, taking initiative that day, and just being more involved and personal with the people we were there to speak with, and just learning a lot. Just meeting new people. That was like my first and favorite experience. I am looking forward to an event. I don't know if we're ever going to do it, but I'm looking forward towards hopefully if we run into any heart transplant type of charities. That one's close to my heart because my sister I had, she was born with half a heart when she was 3. We found out when she was 5 and she survived the transplant. Everything was fine, but we took her for more and she didn't survive. But I think that's just close to my heart. But right now, it is personally that Wolf together gave me all the motivation, inspiration to just keep going and being part of charities have been the autism awareness event.
I don't have as many events as everybody else under their belt here, but I did like being at the marathons and stuff just because I personally do not enjoy running. I like
those who can't cheer.
Yes, no, seriously, like I think it's encouraging to see other people willing to put in their time.
Last time you're at panel, Chris.
To see other people giving up of their time to run for these different events. You know, they're spending literally hours of their energy out doing this marathon for however many miles, and like being able to like feel encouraged by the runners and then also be able to encourage them back to stand there and cheer them on. And it's like I feel like they're doing way more work than I am standing there, you know, clapping and stuff. So I think the marathons are fun, and sometimes people wear fun outfits or stuff like that, and it's always great when they're like super into giving you a high five back and everything. It makes it feel like you're actually helping to keep the energy going at the event and stuff like that, because I know with marathons these people have to be exhausted by the time they make it to the finish line. So I like the marathons. I think they're fun.
Thanks to somebody that you all know, Justin Wu, visiting the one-on-one hospitals with the kids. This helmet saves me because being able to sit with the kids for a half an hour to an hour at a hospital, the last Make-A-Wish thing that I did, first time in my life I realized, you know what the most powerful thing in the universe is? A kid that has operational one eye, one pair of fingers, and a smile. That vision will never leave my life, no matter how long I live. And so it's not just the big events, it's give yourself a chance. Go to Rady's Children's Hospital. They need you. They need you desperately. And just go and do the ward a day. And that'll be the greatest reward I think you'll ever receive.
Same with Chris, you know, because my son is a cancer survivor. And it's touching when you go. It tears me up. Because we just went to one a couple weeks ago, Shriner Hospital. And that was one of the good ones we went to. You know, you get to surround the kids, they come up and hug you when you know you don't want to approach them and scare them off, you know, because we're, you know, with this look sometimes, I was like, ew, stand off us a little. But when kids are coming up and grabbing you, that's what makes it worth it. 100%.
I think for me, I have two. The Deaf Awareness Unity, that was amazing. We've been able to go to 2 of those in the last couple of years. And the first time I didn't dress out, but the second time I did. And it was equally as rewarding to see and be able to work with the kids. It was just so much fun to see the kids just enjoying themselves and having a great time. And the autism event that we did, that was incredibly eye-opening. I work with children on a daily basis, so it was nice to know that I'm always learning things. So anyway, I learned that, you know, some of the things that the kids are in my class that I would have that might have to be on the spectrum, that what their actions are showing isn't out of negativity or meanness or, you know, being just difficult, as basically needing to be taught and shown how to care, how to appropriately respond to different situations. And so it just, for me, gave me a little bit more sensitivity, which I need. And so it was really a fun thing to say, oh, okay, this is going on. And it opened it up and gave me a lot more grace and patience as well. And so it was just powerful. Not only were we there to help them, but they also helped me.
I think my favorite events that we've done is also the Make-A-Wish. Sometimes in my job, I see people on the worst days of their life, and usually I have to continue with the worst day of their life, usually giving them bad news or whatnot. So Make-A-Wish is, especially when we go to the granting party, sometimes it's kind of similar. They're there for a reason, they're there because they're sick, and they've been told terrible news. And it was nice to be able to go, and it's different. This time, it's not me giving them the bad news. I get to go there and actually make them smile. And I love that so much. So those are definitely my favorite events.
One of my favorite events is probably the autism awareness thing. Just because as a high schooler with kids at my school who are on the spectrum, they don't read social cues normally. So just being able to go to an event and be social and interactive with them and help them find those cues to get friends and actually like be social is just amazing.
We've been doing this for 3 years now, and so there have been a lot of events. I always hate, I don't know if you guys do, but I hate questions that are, what are your favorite? What's your favorite anything? It's whatever's in my hand, like what am I, you know, like, what's my favorite food? I don't know, what are we eating now? This is my favorite, right? So this is, you know, my favorite, and we've had panels where this has been a question before. The easiest answer and the clearest answer I could say is whatever's next. The next event is my favorite. I always look forward to whatever we get to do next week or next month. You know, my wife will tell you that I'm a really, really soft-hearted person. So when it comes to, I've for years said, hey, when our kids get old enough, what would you think about maybe considering foster care? She said, you can't. Like, why? Why? She said, you can't do it because I'll have to visit you in jail. Because as soon as, you know, you have to give the child back to you, you're not going to be able to handle it. So anything we do with kids, of course, that I probably, I don't know. I don't know what she thinks is going to happen, but something like that. I don't know. So anything with kids I love. But I look forward to what is the next introduction that we're going to have to. And honestly, on that note, even things like what we're doing today, I love when we get to be a part of things with the American Cancer Society or with larger organizations. But when it's a smaller organization where somebody is developing and putting legs to their passion, and we get to come alongside and help them build that and bring awareness and energy to that, that's exciting to me because I love to see when people's hearts grow large enough and their pocketbooks and their energy and their time start to be impacted by that, and they just can't help it. They have to do something about it. And I love joining with folks who are in that place where they're launching something new and stepping out, crossing that threshold, and taking risks for other people. So my favorite thing is the next thing that we get to do, but those are some of the things that I love.
What about you?
I'm the one asking the questions here. I'm actually on the same page as James. It's whatever's next. I have my own pet charity that I love doing on my non-cosplay time. So when it comes to the cosplay events, every single event is rewarding. The ones with kids especially, I would say, just because they get so excited. I've had pieces of costumes destroyed by kids who get very enthusiastic and want to borrow them, and that's fine. Just replace it. And I don't even get mad. You play with that mess. It's fine. So I have no idea how much time we have left, but I wanted to open it up in case there's. Oh, we do?
Yeah.
You guys listen to my posts. You guys are so like efficient. So I wanted to open it up to any questions anybody might have. Yes.
Yeah, mine's more of a comment actually. It's because I myself have Asperger's. I was diagnosed barely a decade ago at 43, answered a lot of questions. But I come to find out, kind of long story, that cosplay is how I got social. Otherwise, I'd just be sitting at home playing Minecraft and everything. And I found it especially welcome with the San Diego Star Wars Society. I mean, they accepted me, even if my costume is just a basic Sith Lord that doesn't look like I came off the screen. They accepted me. I'm included in their activities and their events and everything, and I'm able to, even like the Make-A-Wish and everything, I'm able to be part of that, and I think that's great. And maybe eventually I'll put together a steampunk outfit and try for the steampunk world too.
I'll be here waiting for you.
Oh yeah.
Anything else, Becca? Yes, in the back.
Pick me. So the thing I like about steampunk is that there's so much creativity involved in it. I personally enjoy creating something that's my own more than trying to make something that's screen accurate. Like every costuming group has a set of rules. Some are a little more strict than others, some are more loose. What are the rules for a costume if somebody wants to get into the Star Wars
What's the
Steampunk
first
Universe?
rule of steampunk?
It's not steampunk to say.
It's not steampunk.
Also, boots before corset.
Yes.
So the question was, what are the rules?
Well, if somebody wants to get in, like a lot of costuming groups have some kind of rules on, like, you know, they don't want you to have like a Party City costume. Now, steampunk, I guess there are Party City bits and pieces you can get, but there's no off-the-shelf $30 costume somebody's going to show up in. So probably most of the people that want to get into this group have pretty decent costumes in the first place. But is there a process? Do people have to send in photos? How do they get into the group?
Yeah, there's Nathan Sickerman, and I started this 3 years ago. I was asked to do a panel for Star Wars Celebration, had nobody involved, and most all the people here, we did a photo shoot at the, up there at the train station, and started putting it together. And I would venture to say every single, maybe one of us gets carried away with changing too much every week, but everybody else, it upgrades. I'll tell you, to me, Tracy's outfit, when he first started this group, it was, 3 or 4 items, and it has evolved into the character. One of the things to keep in mind, one of the thrills, write a backstory, think about a backstory. What if, C-3PO wasn't a robot? What if he was, a guy that evolved, into a situation? We've got so many people that evolve their characters. Yours, Lando, I mean, come on. That's stepping way out of the norm. How did you?
I'm very abnormal, so that's yeah. I think what Chris is trying to set up here is that it's been an evolution for us. So nobody started out in the costume that they're in right now today. So while, yeah, you're absolutely right, we do have some very specific, and I don't mind going through those, but have some very specific kinds of things that we're looking for, and for membership there are some specific hoops to jump through. Nobody expects when you join this group for you to have a finalized costume that's going to be perfect in every way. Certainly we don't have rules about screen accuracy, quite obviously, which is the steampunk way, right? So we take characters that we like and we get an essence of what they look like on the screen or in the book or in the comic, and then we just take that in whatever fun direction that we want to take that. But very specifically to answer your question, what we look for and our requirements, we have an admin team that will sponsor people who are looking to join the group. So we actually have a form that was created by our Sith Lord here in the front row that helps with the development of backstory that Chris was talking about and character development if that's something that somebody's struggling with. But if you already kind of have pieces of a costume and you're building that, then we ask that you come as a guest with our group and be a part of some of the things that we do. We require that you attend a convention or a photo shoot or one of those kinds of events with us as a sponsored prospect with our group, and then also a charity function. There's any number of opportunities throughout the year to fulfill that requirement. So a charity and a con as you're being sponsored. And then as we move through that process, then we have kind of a selection process that goes on from there. But generally, most people start with a base costume, and they just keep creating and keep creating and keep creating. And I don't think there's anyone in the Star Wars Steampunk universe here today who is even remotely in the same costume that they started with. Oh, we have one person. And Sarah, your costume is pretty similar, but she's a little bit newer in our group, right? So I know it's going to keep growing and changing and morphing. And that's what we love. Is every time we get together, we're like, ooh, what did you add? Ooh, what did you do? Oh, hey, look what and we'll send pictures to each other online and, hey, what do you think about this? And it's a really great thing.
I will say that I had never dressed in steampunk at all before Chris and Nathan asked me to be on that celebration panel. I don't even know why you guys asked me to be on it.
You were Hot Nerd Girl, come on! Let's hear it for Hot Nerd Girl.
I'm blushing now. No, so I had to really, I mean, I knew what steampunk was, but I had to very quickly do a crash course in steampunk, and because I'm also a costume assembler, I'm not a costume builder. I'm not very good at sewing and all of that. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, first of all. And the great thing about steampunk is that it is 100% creative and personalized to you. There are no rules. It can be gold painted toys glued onto your costume and silver shirts, or it can be, you know, every single thing is leather and gears. And there's such a variety of steampunk, which I learned, you know, diesel and all of that, that really the sky's the limit. So if you want to get involved,
And another group is San Diego Steampunk Society. So, and they meet every other month at Fuddrockers. Fuddrockers, Tuesday, the one up in Mira Mesa at 6 o'clock. So just keep an eye out on Facebook. And boy, they are a gigantic group, and they will just inundate you with ideas. You just open the door. Rebecca knows how long have you been a part of that group?
7 years?
Yeah. So they embrace everyone.
Yep. We do, I should say, we do ask that costumes be hand created. I won't say necessarily it was handmade, but we don't really entertain the idea of a store-bought kind of costume, though everyone here is wearing something that somebody else made that we probably paid some money for. So it doesn't have to be your hands that made it, but hand created, that is something that we do look for.
Yeah, even if you're assembling like I do, like, I mean, I did my gun and my lightsaber, you know, that was all me being just creative. So, you know, everybody has something that they've at least made.
And her goggles are made out of?
Red Bull cans.
Nice.
Any other questions? Yes.
How many kids do you guys have in your group?
We actually have two.
Well, I think they're all kids.
Can I answer the question, how many kids show up as a part of our group
Yes,
at
as a
conventions?
costumed member.
I've counted as many as 24 when we do photo shoots at Comic-Con. There's just a tremendous number of steampunk and Star Wars kids that just glom in to become a part of our group photo shoot. The kids, there's a lot of kids that really get attracted to it. Part of the problem with any of the charity groups is the fact that, you know, families are already super busy, you know, and we're so thankful for, you know, James and Noah. That's him going on.
It's okay, he's not allowed on any more panels either.
Speaking of kids.
But we have 2 permanent members that are part of our group that Noah started with us, he was 11, I think. 11, and then Wyatt, I think, and Noah are the same age.
Right.
But Wyatt's taller than I am. Yeah.
But kids are welcome. Yeah. Aw. Anyway, any more questions?
Tracy, what time does the panel end? Is it 3:50?
Gee.
I have no idea.
Is there another one at 4? Because it's 3:47. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, we're going to have a photo shoot out at the Dolphin Pond. We're going to try to do it at 4:40 because another Vandenberg missile is going to be launched tonight at 4:40. So if you want to come out for that, that ought to be a lot of fun. I don't know how many saw the missile last month. It is spectacular, and you'll get to see spaced about separation as well.
All right, so I will wrap this up. I do want to thank all of our panelists and all of our Star Wars Steampunk Universe members for all their hard work and dedication to support the charitable causes that we do support. Thank you as well to you guys. Thanks for coming. And thank you to, I would call them our sister organizations, the Sci-Fi Coalition, San Diego Star Wars Society, especially because we do communicate with each other a lot. We do team up a lot for different charitable causes. So once again, if you have a charity event you want us to become involved with, please let any one of us know or at the table in the main hall. And if you're interested, then contact us. And if you want any of our social media information, I have handouts. Anyways, so thank you. May the force be with you.